offices tonight and the swearing in of the duly elected board members. Before we begin, do you want to announce who beginning the pledge?
Yes, Mr. Solicitor. First of all, I would like to mention right up front that we have a very honored guest with us tonight, and that is Federal Court Judge Smith, Edward G. Smith, who, for all of you students, happens to be a graduate of Eastern Area High School. He is a Red Rover, a distinguished Red Rover. So we're very honored to have him here. And Judge, this is typical of our board meetings. And people who just can't wait to get here once a month to see us. So I want you to know that public interest is very high here. But what we have tonight are students who are, it's part of their requirement for a course. Obviously, the semester's coming to an end. They have to get here to get these papers signed, right? Yes, okay. But they're also here because they want to see how government works at this level, and we're glad to see all of you. So to start tonight, I would like to introduce Mrs. Meredith Nauman, who is the principal at Palmer School, who's going to introduce our special student.
Good evening. I have Ibrahim Malik here from Palmer Elementary School. He is one of our student Lighthouse members, which means he's one of our leaders at Palmer School. He's been a member of our new Lighthouse team that we started this year. Previous to that, he has helped with our leadership days. He's been one of our featured speakers at our Palmer Leadership Days. He's also a member of our safety patrol, so he's going to lead us tonight in the pledge.
Great. Welcome. Right over here. Right here in the middle. How's that? Well, thank you for doing it. Right there.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Keep up good work.
Our one and only guest tonight is presiding the election of the temporary president. We would like to proceed with other business on the agenda. And for that purpose, I need a nomination for a temporary president who will be elected from the holdover members. We'll have some nominations on.
I'd like to nominate Billy Weiss.
Not a holdover member.
Oh, from the holdover.
We need a holdover member to nominate someone.
I'll do it. If you want me to nominate myself?
Somebody-
I nominate Billy Weiss.
All right. Do we have consensus to have Billy Weiss as the temporary president?
So moved.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Mrs. Weiss?
Thank you. Okay. We'll start asking the secretary if she has acknowledgement of the election certificates. And we're going to move on to the oath. And so I'd like to call Honorable Edward G. Smith.
Yes.
New board members.
Judge, would you like to, well, we know there's some individuals who would like to take some photographs, and we were wondering if we could have you on one side of the podium and our new members right adjacent there on the other side, if that would work. Now, it's up to the board. Would you like to do the oath in one and then have your photographs taken individually? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's
all
that'll
right.
work. Yep.
All right, good. So, Judge, I just would like to introduce Judge Smith properly. Judge Smith is a federal court judge, and that makes his level of practice here in our area extremely important. Prior to his federal appointment, which I believe was he was nominated by Barack Obama for that position, he served 12 years as a judge of the Court of Common Pleas in Northampton County. Of particular note is that Judge Smith served for over 30 years as a Navy judge advocate, attaining the rank of captain. Of also, and very important to note, is that his assignments included being a military trial judge, an appellate military judge, a commanding officer of 2 reserve units, and a reserve instructor in international and operational law at the Navy War College. But this is significant as well. I mean, it's just an outstanding record of service to this country. In 2007, Judge Smith deployed to Iraq and was awarded the Bronze Star Medal for his service. He's a graduate of Easton High School and one of our most distinguished citizens here in Northampton County. Welcome to our All right. Would the board members like to rise and perhaps from your seats and then take the oath from the judge, and then we'll have just an opportunity for a photograph individually with him. How's that?
Yep.
Do you want to stay at your seats, or do you want to all come over? There have been some talk that you want to be individually sworn in one at a time. Is that not the case?
That's what I'm doing.
Yes. Okay.
And would you like family members with you while you're being sworn in?
Yes.
And are you taking pictures? I think we might have to do it.
All right. Maybe we will have to, Judge. Sure.
How did you face out? Who wants to go first? Do you want to come up here with you?
My husband. I don't know how
I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Who is next? Taking the pictures. You can get a better position, right? Take a picture if you want to. Maybe just say people can move around the courtroom freely. How are you guys doing? I state your name.
I, Frank Sayago,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're going to be solo up here? Nice crowd. How are you? Somebody's around this side. Perfect. Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Brian W. Snyder,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Are you trying to see how easy it is? Please repeat after me. I state your name.
I, George M. Chando,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this
and
Commonwealth,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office
and I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
And last but definitely not least, please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. Congratulations.
Your Honor. I believe that's, yes, we have,
Thank you very much for inviting me.
yes, well, you can't go yet. You know, once, I think we have to say, once a rover, always a rover. And we would like you to carry out this heavy piece of concrete as you leave the building. And I'm sorry about that, but it is heavy. But we have a little Easton pin for you, and also we would be very proud if you put one of our bulldogs in your office and one of our red
I
rovers.
certainly will do that.
Would you do that?
One thing that you don't, not only did I graduate from East High School, my father did, and my grandfather was on the school board.
Well, welcome new board members. We'll start off by Lee having the first roll call, right, for the board. You have everybody? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, moving on. Is there anyone from the interested citizens that have anything to report on agenda items only? Anything to come up and state regarding agenda items only? Okay, seeing none. We're going to go and elect a new president. Yay, exciting. So, do I have a motion to nominate and appoint someone to serve as board president for a one-year term, effective immediately? Any nominations?
I'll move for nominating George Chando.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, I'm going to close the nominations. And we're going to cast ballots, so I need a motion to approve George as president. Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Mr. President. George will officially take over the meeting and appoint a vice president. So you can move up to your new chair. I take your hand, but no, you're the problem.
All right, we'll continue with the reorganization part of the meeting with the election of the vice president. So the floor is open for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Jody Hess for vice president.
Are there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Brian Snyder.
Are there nominations at all? Do we have any motion to close the nominations?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are closed. We will cast the ballots. First nominee Jody Hess for Vice President. All in favor? Aye. A show of hands, please. Yes. With a vote of 5 individual board members, Mrs. Hess is elected Vice President for the term of 1 year. Congratulations, Mrs. Hess.
There you go. You're going to put your own name tag in now. I also don't vacuum when you
At this point, we've concluded the agenda for the reorganization meeting, so I'll ask for adjournment. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The reorganization meeting is adjourned. We will then go into the regular agenda. Right. Okay. We're calling the regular meeting to order. Madam Secretary, you certainly the attendance change accurately.
Not on this side, but on the other side, maybe.
With that, we'll move once again for the public to be heard on agenda items. Let's first do the superintendent's report. Mr. Reinhardt, please.
Yes, Mr. President, we have some pictures from the Eastern Area Middle School's International Night, which was held approximately, I believe, Dr. Simeon's here present somewhere. And we had, could you tell us about how many individuals, how many parents? It was a big crowd.
We had about 500 people there.
500 people. It was a tremendous success.
A project that was a collaborative effort among students, teachers, and parents.
Yes.
So we have it was a project that generated a lot of support from our parents and parent engagement partnership. So it was very successful. It was our first endeavor, and the kids really took this. The teachers took it and they ran with it.
Yeah.
And the excitement that it generated in the school community for a month until they prepared for this and it actually came into fruition was infectious. The morning that we started preparing the day of the festival, the kids came down and I wish we could have captured that spirit that was in there. It just made a lot of happiness within the school community, and it impacted a lot of parents who were very happy to be there that evening. So these pictures, I hope they capture a little bit of what we had that evening. I have with me Jen Berry and her husband, who also worked very hard. They really helped. Anything I asked, could we get this done? Sure, no problem. Get this done? Sure, no problem. They never told me no for anything. I thought Mr. Berry's name was no problem because every time Mrs. Berry, I asked her for something, she said no problem. Then he appeared. I didn't know his name until the last day. I asked her, by the way, what is your husband's first name? And she said Matthew. So all that time we went. But I hope these pictures, these are actually, we got coverage on Channel 69 and also Eastern Express in the morning, all. It just was a project that really helped to unite the entire school family.
Yes.
And it was something that we wanted to continue next year, and the kids are always talking about what they're going to do bigger and better for next year. So, and it celebrated all the diversity that we have within our school district community. We have over 50 countries represented here, and you'll see some of the things that went on: foods, dance, artifacts, a lot of customs were shared, a lot of parents cooked ethnic dishes, and we basically.
All right, we're trying to get the photographs up and running.
I know where.
But this was a perfect demonstration of what can happen when the school really gets into the swing of a project. And I must say that I was truly taken back on Friday night when I entered the cafeteria and saw and not only the crowd, but the excitement and the numbers of students who were there, the staff. I have to commend the staff of the schools. They just came out and supported this, and we're just delighted to be there. They represented all of us so well. So congratulations, Dr. Simia and Jen, and Mr. Jen Barry, Mr. Matthew. Could you just stand up and let the board see you there?
We're only out for Monday. They actually residency.
You know what? If we can't do it, if we're having a problem, we can put it. We can make sure that it's available on the website, and we'll be all right with that too.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It happens. But thank you. We had a chance to acknowledge the Berries and Dr. Simia and the staff and the students, and that's really what matters. And we'll get those pictures up and running so you can access them on the website. Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Reinhardt. Moving through the agenda, the next item, public to be heard on agenda items. If anyone from the public would like to be heard on any agenda item posted this evening, you kindly come forward to the podium. I believe there's a sign-in sheet there for you, and then address any item on the agenda. I don't see anybody moving to the podium for any questions on the agenda. So we'll move into item 3, executive session report. That report is noted for the public.
Well, I don't have to go back, but the caption, so I encourage you to just know.
Okay. No,
No,
okay. Right.
just mention it.
Okay, we acknowledge that the executive session report is on file. Okay. Item 4, the approval of the minutes. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the committee meetings held. It's items November 7th, academic meeting, November 7th, buildings and grounds meeting, November 7th, finance committee meeting, November 7th, the policy committee meeting, and November 21st, the regular board meeting.
I'll make the second.
Any discussion on those minutes? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move into personnel items. And we have 4 personnel items. 5A is the resignation of 2 staff members. And 5B is recommending approval for 2 staff members for leaves of absence. Can I have a motion?
A motion which regrets as appropriate.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those items carry. Items C and D will also move together. Item C is recommending approval for an athletic department staff member worker. And item D is requesting approval to employ a head middle school track and field coach. Is there a motion? Second?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That'll carry us into academics. And we have 2 recommendations, I believe, for academics. The first one will be item 6A, approving the memorandum of understanding with Western Governors University. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have a question about how that process works. Do those universities approach us before they have prospective student teachers, or someone is interested in student teaching in the district and the university then has to seek approval?
It happens in
Both. Yeah. Yes to both, actually.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. On item 6B, there's a motion to approve the attached 3 field trips as presented.
So moved. Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to item 8, finance. I'm sorry, 7A is buildings and grounds. Item A is the change orders for the Tracy School renovation project. Second. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Moving into finance, item 8. There are 3 agenda items under finance this evening. Item 8 needs a motion to approve the payment of bills from the general fund, special activities, capital projects, and for food service.
So moved.
Second. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. 8B is requesting approval for the David Hurd Memorial Scholarship.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. 8C is requesting approval to establish 2 student activity organizations at the high school. The first one being Girls Up, and the second one is robotics.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Moving into number 9, other business. There are numerous agenda items and recommendations. Under 9A, the motion to accept the resignation of Mr. Frank Pinavone as a Region 2 school board member with regrets.
With regret. Second. Regrets.
I'm sorry, second on that?
We run.
Okay.
Second. Regrets.
Thank you. Any discussion? I certainly want to acknowledge the years of service that Mr. Pinavone gave to this school board, not only as a board member, but also serving as the board president. His countless hours of service and his leadership that he provided to this board and to this district are greatly appreciated. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item B, there's a motion to appoint Mr. Dean M. Donaher to fill the unexpired term for the Northampton County Community College Board of Trustees, with his term expiring in June 2018.
So moved.
Second to Ryan. Any discussion? I mean, Mr. Fano, if you could just explain for the new board members how this works.
Appointments at the community college work on a 6-year term. So when you're appointed, here you're appointed for 4 years. Out there, the appointment comes from your local school boards because they're what support the college, and the term out there is 6 years. And in this case, the gentleman from Bethlehem School District had resigned his position for other reasons, and so Bethlehem then it's up to them to appoint somebody else. When they announce who they want to appoint, all the other school districts that support the college, the other remaining 7, have to then also approve those appointments. And as long as the majority of the members of all the other school districts approve, then that person does become a member of the college trustees.
And I think that clears things up for everybody. Why this board has to vote on the appointment of that individual. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Items C through J, we are dealing with committee appointments. And with 4 previous board members leaving the board, There are several vacancies to fill the various standing committees that the Board of Education has. Yeah, right, I'm going to take them separate.
Oh, it's not that, it's not a board committee.
Right.
It's a separate.
I will, thank you, I'll take them separate. As I noted, there are vacancies in some of these committees. The new members of the board had an opportunity to review these committees. Obviously, the holdover members of the board are already on various committees, okay? So basically, we have some appointments and we'll take them individually. First is on item C, motion to appoint Thomas Guth to serve on the CIT Operating Committee for a 3-year term effective December 5th, 2017 to June 30th, 2020. Mrs. Weiss and Mrs. Hess are also have terms on this committee as well. Okay? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Item D is an appointment to the Foundation for Eastern Schools Board. I have a motion to appoint Meg Sayaga to serve as the board representative for the Foundation for Eastern Schools.
I'll move. I'll
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E is the Academic Chairs Committee. Motion to appoint Meg Sayaga to serve as Academic Committee Chair as presented.
So moved. George, not to mislead here, but E, F, G, and H, you don't need any motions or anything. Those are your appointments as you wish.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they did them in the past as
No.
motions.
I don't believe we did.
Okay.
So,
I can just make
in
the
that
analysis.
case, the agenda's wrong in that case.
Well, that's fine. I didn't know if it, what past practice was. That's fine. Well, I'll just announce those then at this point, just so everybody in the public knows that. But on the listed agenda, there was the Academics Committee Chair, and the appointment is for Meg Sayaga to serve as a board representative and chair for that committee, and Mrs. Hess will remain as the vice chair for that committee. Item F, which is the Policy Committee Chair. The appointment will be for Brian Snyder to serve as the Policy Committee Chair as presented for this year. Item G, which is the Athletics Committee Chair and Vice Chair. The appointments will be for Thomas Guth as the Athletic Committee Chair and Susan Hartranft-Fittinger as the Athletics Committee Vice Chair for this year. Item H is Buildings and Grounds Chair. The appointment will be for Mr. Fainall as the Buildings and Grounds Chair and Susan Hartranft-Fittinger as the Vice Chair.
Excuse me, I just have a quick question. So, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Certainly.
when were these appointments even discussed? Because I'm actually interested in the buildings and grounds.
They
Committee chair or
were
vice chair?
sent to, my understanding was they were sent to the board for review, okay? And,
Not only new board members, correct?
Okay.
Not existing board members.
okay? I had thought that everybody had received them, number one. And my assumption was the carryover board members already had committee assignments. So I thought it would be appropriate to involve the new board members.
I agree, except I'm doing CIT, and Meg's on 2 other ones here, so I don't understand, I'm vice chair of the finance committee,
Right.
but I would like to be on the buildings and grounds as well. If that is the problem.
Well, I know that you serve on the capital project committee, which is closely associated with the buildings and grounds. So I think this is an appropriate way to get 3 people involved in the buildings and grounds operation. With respect to Mr. Fainall, who's also on the capital project committee, and involving a new board member on the buildings and grounds committee.
And the bottom line is, all members are welcome to attend.
Okay. Item I, the appointment of Mr. Brian Snyder as the Colonial Intermediate Unit 20 Chair as presented for this school year. Represented. I see. Item,
That would be need to vote.
okay, so I need a motion on that recommendation, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? On the agenda, it's listed as J, PSBA Liaison.
Sure.
And at this point, Mr. Fano, unless you choose not to want to continue in that capacity, I'll make that appointment.
I'd rather work with somebody on it than let somebody else have the opportunity.
Okay. Then is there anyone on the board that would like to step into that position?
I think maybe to understand that, because they don't really know what it entails. Maybe you could give a little explanation on that.
Yeah. PSBA, Pennsylvania School Board Association and everything, and annually they hold a conference and everything to attend, but beyond that, it's sort of trying to keep up, and it doesn't really say it here, and that's with legislation and everything that changes. And it talks about, and that's why I say I will assist, because I do the same thing for the college. But you spend some time talking constantly with legislators, learning what may be going on, you'll get updates. You know, there's various opportunities to be interfacing with a lot of different people and find out what's going on. And at the same time have opportunities, let's say that you want to guide something by calling a legislator and saying, you know, I'm representing these, and that's this word votes in that fashion, but I'm representing and I'd like to tell you our opinion on this, and or writing it or whatever else.
I think I'd be interested in
Again, I'll work with anybody.
Okay, it's going to get to learn it. I would be interested in finding, getting started with that. Unless somebody else really has it.
And just to give you an insight, when I say do it for the college, I already have 3 days booked in Washington next year. I have 2 days booked in Harrisburg. So I'm already doing that on that basis, and it's nice to have other people involved in helping to represent the school position.
All right, let me revise that recommendation to appoint Mr. Snyder as the representative for the PSBA liaison for this current year. Do I have a motion?
It's your appointment.
Okay, my appointment. Thank you. Item K, which is a consultants agreement, and I need a motion to approve the agreement with Glenn Cook and Associates as presented. I believe everybody received information as part of the agenda on that.
Yes. So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion?
I have questions.
Sure.
Questions and comments. So the first one is, about 2 months ago, we had approved basically, I think, the same thing with the IU. So I'm wondering why we are doing this in addition to that, is the first part. And the second part is the comment is that I'd like to either see a cap of hours or a cap of dollars on this, because right now we don't have anything that says sort of a blank check there.
This would only be utilized for cases where a BCBA, a board certified behavior analyst, is required or needed for a student. So we did approve an agreement with the intermediate unit to do the same. However, the intermediate units, BCBAs, they service all of the districts locally. So when we are in a situation where we need BCBA services to work with one of our students, if they don't have the capacity to do so, this allows us the flexibility to still service the student in a timely fashion. With regard to a cap or a certain number of hours, this will only be utilized in cases where a BCBA would be appropriate for a student who is identified as a student with an IEP. So I wouldn't suggest a cap, because this is being done on an individualized basis based on student need. And a cap could prohibit us from utilizing services that would be required for an individual student. We would have to come back to the board just to request additional service or hours. That would potentially
Right, I guess my only
last.
concern with that is because we did cap the hours and then not to exceed for the IU, so that's why I wasn't sure. I guess maybe the question is, how often do we anticipate something like that happening?
The reason we do that with the IU is because there are so few, that they're trying to equitably allow all of their districts an opportunity to use the BCBA services, which is, as we see an increase in student needs, we see an increase in need to use BCBA services. What was your second question? Sorry.
The request always goes to the IU first, and if they're unable to meet it, then it goes to the...
Well, we've never had any, no.
Would that be the procedure?
I think at times it would be. I think also we want to make sure we're matching the right BCBA with the right student.
Okay.
So, that would, I believe, be a professional judgment call by our special educators.
It really gives us two choices rather than just the one. And again, we really don't necessarily know how to project the need for the services, because maybe some things come up and you need the services rather quickly for two students, and you might not need that for a while, and it's sort of hard to predict. I'm not sure why we would cap one. That's actually a point you raised. Why there's a cap to one. But you did say that was the cap was
To more equitably allow the BCBAs to work with
to
all
stretch
of the
around the
districts.
districts. Yeah.
that they serve.
I mean, I think, this is the first time we're venturing, down this road. At the end of the year, we could just have a summary report as to what was being handled by each group, and then it'll probably give everybody a better idea of how it's worked, from January on. Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have item L, which is a motion to approve the 2018 regular and standing committee meeting schedule as advertised and presented.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There are two addendums under 9 for other business. 9M. I need a motion to approve the agreement for restoration of employment for employee number 328675 as presented.
So,
Second? We had two people. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. 9N, settlement agreement. Move to approve the settlement agreement and release as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Discussion?
I will be abstaining.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? With one abstention. Motion carries. Just before we proceed to public input on non-agenda items, just a little clarification for our students here when we were going through all of these committee assignments. The board has committee assignments and asked for board members to be involved with those assignments. Some of them are outside of the school district, where the board representatives are serving in capacities and terms. And the vast majority of them are internal committees that the school board has to be able to work with the administration, to work with the teachers and other employees in the district, to be able to set goals, objectives, and to be able to move the district forward. So that's why you saw a lot of committee assignments that were listed on the agenda. And I just wanted to clarify that for you. We moved through it rapidly, but that's the way that the Board of Education can conduct its business. When they have a committee meeting that is held one time a month, it's a general meeting where the school board does its business, for approving items, and for instance, like paying its bills and entering into contracts with individuals or other entities. So I just wanted to give you a little explanation of that so you understand why all these committee assignments were made. Okay? Item 10, public to be heard on non-agenda items. If there's anyone from the public that would like to be heard on any agenda item, please come forward and sign the tablet.
Non-agenda, right?
Correct.
Good evening. I don't think I need the mic. Good evening. Usually I'm on the agenda. I'm Kevin Dealey. I'm the president of the Eastern Area Education Association, otherwise known as the Teachers Union here. First I want to say congratulations to all the new board members and to you, President Chando and Vice President Hess. I'm glad to see your service is to be commended. Thank you so much for what you do for the Eastern Area community. It is incredibly valuable. And I look forward personally to working with you and seeing the good that we can all do together. I have the honor and the privilege to serve as president of the EA, but also on the boards of the Pennsylvania State Education Association and on the National Education Association board. And I am fortunate to have had the opportunity last week to attend a national conference on urban education. At that conference, I learned quite a bit of information that I can bring back to you right now. For one, as many of you know, with the reauthorization of No Child Left Behind, also called ESSA, ESSA, part of that requires every school district to undergo a school improvement plan for each one of their schools so that we can work together on improving education nationwide. One of those things also allows teachers to have input and community members to have input in those improvement plans. The NEA has come up with a survey that I'll be sending out to my members to talk about. Basically, it's called a school needs assessment. I've gone through it myself and done it. It takes a couple of minutes, and any lay individual can look at that, a parent can see it, and say, well, I think maybe our school needs full-day kindergarten, for instance. That's one of them on there. But we can use that information to see where we could improve as a school district as a whole. It's just good information to have. Other things that we talked about were charter school accountability. As you know, it's a nationwide issue. Charter schools are often unaccountable for taxpayer funds, and they drain our dollars that we can use in our classrooms to help our students. So that is one thing, when I know that. However, there are many teachers that are members of the National Education Association, so we have we want to improve education globally, but that is one part of that. Also, we talked about civil rights and social justice needs of our students. Some things that are sometimes touchy subjects, but I think the Eastern Area School District does an excellent job of working to answer those questions that we have. I also take part in the equity committee here, and we have sat in meetings, talked really intensely about some of the needs in this district, very honestly and openly, and I have to commend Mrs. Amelie for her leadership there, as well as Mr. Cook and actually the entire back table over there. Very involved in making this school district a much more inclusive environment for all of the students. I'm happy to be part of that. Also, I would like to say that we do have 2 community schools, labeled community schools in Easton, but there's no reason why we can't distinguish every school as a community school, allowing every student the opportunity to be heard, to have their individual needs met, and feel like they are part of the community where they come from. So part of my job is to advocate for the students and the teachers as well, and to make sure that we all have the best quality education possible. I look forward to working with you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the community that would like to?
Thank you very much. My name is Terry Anderson. Going into 2018, I would ask that you be much more proactive in the total Easton community. I realize you've got a tremendous job to do just here, but the world is bigger than just here and involves a very broad community. And I want to narrow that down very quickly. Lafayette Sprawl is a tax increase. Let me repeat that. Lafayette Sproul is a tax increase. If you want to debate it with me, I'll be glad to meet you later. But factually, Lafayette is intending to sprawl, and there's a long track record of institutions like Lafayette, many of them very fine institutions. I went there. It's a great diamond. But it has a track record going back at least to 1880 of aggressively taking things off the tax rolls, up through the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. More recently, Swarthmore has done the same thing. It's Vice President of Development and it's groundskeeper. Other colleges have done the same. And when you do that, it hurts here. Now, Lafayette owns 150 some residential properties. According to Lafayette, it keeps paying taxes. Peggy Palmer did the homework, listed them all, and the first one I picked, they're not paying taxes on. Beyond that, credibility gaps. But look at it this way. If they took 150 properties out of circulation, they're out of circulation forever, practically. That means no more families, no more affordable families, no more taxpayers, no more things that aren't part of this community. Never to come back again. Lafayette may be the world's best factory of producing very good students, but they're not from Easton, and they don't stay in Easton by and large. Perhaps that's true other places. They make a reference to Swarthmore. Swarthmore's got some great institutional values, and it's an economic engine. If you look at Lafayette, it is a complete economic fizzle in terms of this community for at least 200 years, in terms of building the community up. I can go through their hiring practices, their staffing practices, but each of you represents Easton. Lafayette's got 30-some board members. None of them live in Easton, except possibly the president, and she lives in a tax-exempt home, and her compensation package is probably equal to everybody over here, including such goodies as she gets grossed up for certain taxes that she does pay. Nobody in this room gets those, I'm sure. The next senior member of her staff lives 70-some miles away. A senior member of her staff who's behind the project to expand lives 45 miles away, Pennington, New Jersey, in a community that doesn't even have a high school. It's so affluent. It rents space next door. There's nothing wrong with that, but they don't represent Easton values. People say Lafayette is too big to take on. I'm sorry. You, ladies and gentlemen, represent stronger, more values, more votes, more community members, more students, more everything than Lafayette will ever have, with the possible exception of an $800 million endowment. But endowments don't buy you votes. You've got the votes. And the unfortunate thing is, if you get in trouble, you can raise taxes. And I'm not in favor of raising taxes, and I think most of you are not. It's time to take a very serious look at the expansion of Lafayette. It may be an outstanding college, but sprawl is another fancy word for a tax increase. Any way you like to do it. We could go through their hiring practice and who they hire and who stays, but I think you get the point. They are important, you're more important. You have more votes, you have more stroke, and don't let anybody tell you that you don't count. Seriously, you do count, and it's time to stand up and be counted for this particular district. I don't care whether Lehigh is better. I don't care what they do in Bethlehem. I live here, so do you. Let's make this community the best it can be, and Lafayette should be a contributing member of this community, not the boss. And there are some people who think Lafayette runs too many things, and I assure you, they think they run too many things. Put it in perspective, their CEO bellyached in the New York Times about the prospect of paying a mere 1.4% tax. Okay? They're not going to pay it anyway. Lafayette's not quite that rich. But you think for a moment that after they get what they want, they won't pull their properties off the tax rolls?
Mr. Anderson, I'll remind you, 5
Give me a
minutes
break.
are up. If you could summarize quickly.
Yeah. Please, take a very proactive approach to your tax base, your quality of life. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the audience to be heard on any non-agenda items? Okay, thank you. With that, just prior to adjournment, I'll ask the board, we need a brief executive session after adjournment. Once we do adjourn.
Before we adjourn, with the open seat,
Yes.
are we going to anticipate appointing someone at the January meeting?
Obviously, we accepted the resignation tonight, so it will be advertised. The time frame we're dealing with, I'm not sure about how long people have to be able to submit their letter of interest.
There's no specific.
No specific?
There's no specific rule. There is no specific advertising requirement. In the past, the board has conducted an open solicitation for people interested. It's necessary, however, the process the board is going to follow, that any interviews for that position must be public interviews. So that has to be advertised, and any vote conducted to fill that position first must be done.
We do have scheduled committee meetings on January 9th, and we could have a special meeting that night if the board's interested in pursuing them.
Yeah, I think that would be the best route to go, so that we don't, waste time in trying to fill the additional seat. So let's get it advertised, and we'll then set time for that meeting. I believe you run your special meeting first, and then
Yes.
you adjourn and go into committee meetings.
Yep.
So we can do that.
It's Region 2, right?
Yes.
The agenda
Region-
says Region 3.
It's Region 2. I believe I've read it as Region 2.
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Mr. President, just so everyone's clear, that the purpose of that meeting would be to interview interested candidates.
Correct. Okay. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you.
Any other business from board members? At this time? Ryan?
Thank you. Yes, I just want to take a moment just to congratulate Mr. Chando and Mrs. Hess on being selected to lead the board. I'm looking forward to working with everyone this year. I think we're going to have a busy year, but I think we're going to have a productive year. There's a lot ahead, but I think we have a lot. We're moving in the right direction. So I'm excited, and I'm ready to get started, and I hope everyone else is here. So thank you.
Mr. Snyder, I can certainly echo your comments. I know that our elections were held in May.
Yes.
All 5 individuals were the successful candidates chosen for those seats, but they had to wait over 6 months to be able to go through a general election and then to go through the swearing-in ceremony tonight. I know it was a long, hard 6 months, and I know that you attended meetings here, and that's all behind us. So I agree with you. We will soon have a full board of 9 members, and there is a lot of work to be done. But I'm very happy to see the new board come on and to be able to work together, because our business is sitting right in front of us, and that's the children in this district, and that's what we're here for. And we need to make sure that we provide the best for those children up and down the school district. So thank you, Mr. Snyder. Anyone else? Okay. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
I don't believe there's any opposition. So thank you. And
Somehow that appeared.
Oh,
So, do we want to take a minute to do that? Okay, it's a great way to end the meeting.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are a part of God's great big family, and the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart, so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free. As God has shown us, by turning stones to bread, and so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. Oh, and the choice we're making, we're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out, there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, it's not where we can go. So right when life has realized, all that change can only come when we stand together as one. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. Gonna make a better day, just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day, so let's start giving. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. All right, let me hear you. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better day, so let's start giving. Let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Come on, let me hear you. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day.
Got a little fun there.
Yeah.